Hello overclockers, and welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?
And welcome back. My name is Wintario and I'm joined by Rook on the mic today, and we have the final game of groups on stream. It is going to be Insight versus Control.
Yeah, it's definitely a clash of titans here in Group A. Seed 1 versus Seed 3. I mean, this is a matchup we've been looking forward to all day. And honestly, with the way that we've been seeing Insight play, it's looking like they really are the ones to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming into this undefeated, definitely on the run today. And I'm sure Control have something to say about it, but they're not going to be wanting to lose their running streak now. It's the last game. They have to go through this undefeated. We have similar players that we've seen on previous lands that were on stage. We have players like Anguist and, well, it's like kind of like the ex-E-Masters core as well, integrated into that team. But then on the side of Control, we have, well, the TGH roster that we've previously known them as, with the addition of Daki, who is, well, an experienced player, as we all know. We've seen him at LANs, but we've also seen him in the DAC League as well. So it's kind of, like you said, it's a clash of the titans. It could go either way, but coming into this, we have seen previously the matchups, whether that's anything to go by. Insight Gaming, it did beat Swans quite heavily, 13-1, and, well, Control lost to them.
Yeah, so Control, I mean, we know they're a strong team. You were talking about their history, about their pedigree, but today has been a little bit shaky for them. I mean, you're talking about that Swans game. That's not a game we were expecting to lose. Like, no disrespect to Swans, they're a solid team, but we really were coming into this expecting Control to live up to that third seed title. As well as that, you've got the game versus nil, which you, if you were tuned in right before this, you would have seen that as well. And that was very, very close. Probably a little too close for comfort if you're a Control fan. So they've got a lot to prove, and what team better to prove it against? If they manage to take down Insight here, that's a massive statement for them. Yeah,
definitely. Insight being the first seed in this competition, the ones to beat, the favourites to win, basically. And, well, you talked about the pedigree on Control. Think about the pedigree we're going to have on Insight. We have players like Jaff as well. I've already talked about Anguist, but Jaff has already played in Polaris, which is, well, the step up from Beacons at the moment, and, well, played pretty well there as well. So interesting to see how this team does mix in. We've seen how Control play together, but this will be Insight is first tournament together.
Well,
their debut.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good debut for them, as we were kind of saying. They've won every game so far. Looks like they might go undefeated in this stage. Obviously, Control still have something to say about that. But, I mean, I think Hazza and Karo were having a chat with them beforehand, and they were really saying, if we don't win this tournament, it's kind of a disappointment. I think a lot of people are coming into this tournament and going, well, that's entirely right? Insight looks super strong. They've looked really impressive. I think it was Jaff actually talking about the fact that Stokesy is a fantastic IGL, really has a lot of respect for him, and the team just seems to really like each other and have a really good core, which is going to make a big difference as you kind of go longer into that game. I think that obviously the veterancy of the Control roster is going to help that in how they fight against Insight, but I think right now Insight are on a roll and there's no reason that they should be stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about, well, Insight. We have players that have played together before. We've seen Ego with Anguist, that kind of like power duo coming in as well from the old Giga Hub, which made it to the finals at the last Epic LAN in October. But we also have Jaff and Stokesy. They were, well, top bracket, all the way into the upper bracket grand finals of the grand finals of Beacon, which was start of January. Unfortunately, they lost their position in Polaris. So what we have Polaris level players in this. They were able to beat Vamonos in the upper bracket, but unfortunately weren't able to close out in the lower bracket finals and weren't able to hold their position for Polaris. But it still shows the kind of players that we're going to be seeing, and it's kind of the we're going to see like a lot of Stokesy, Jav, maybe Ego, Anguis. I'm kind of interested to see how literally kind of fits into this roster and how they play around it, since it is kind of like a new team compared to like Control.
Yeah.
And I want to see how they kind of mesh together.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And I think as well, to kind of talk about the fact that you mentioned high-level beacons-ready players in this tournament. I mean, that's been the kind of the thing for Epic Land the entire time. For the last couple of events as well, we've had a lot of really strong players coming up. And, I mean, it's died down a little bit because people have actually moved into Polaris as it's become more of a thing. But we still got players like Jaff, like Stokesy, and like some of the members of Control as well, who really can deliver at that level and are really aiming to prove themselves on that stage. And it's great to see these teams really battle out and, you know, sharpen their teeth in such an environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I am really excited to see what kind of veto that we're going to be getting through, since, well, it's kind of up in the air at the moment, since all we have to go off for Insight is the games that they've played so far at LAN, and, well, it's LAN. Anything could be up in the air. They could be hiding strats for possibly a better level team. Could Control be the team that brings it out of them? I really want to see how far each team can push each other, because we already know Control can be pushed to the limits, like we've seen on the last game that was literally just on stream about 20 minutes ago against Next in Line. By securing their place in top 4 of their group, so they're going to be going into the upper bracket, which has double elim. Anyone at the bottom 4, unfortunately, they're going to be going into a single elim bracket at the bottom, but still have a chance, obviously, to come back for the grand finals. But they're going to have to go on a hell of a win streak.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about those grand finals and the rest of the bracket. This is potentially a snapshot of what we're going to see later in those finals. So that's what makes it really interesting. You're talking about the maps, and obviously we're only going to get to see one now, but it's kind of going to show us what kind of maps these teams are comfortable playing against these high-level opponents, and it might kind of inform us as we go on through the bracket stage and as we kind of go through the elimination.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm so excited. We got so much Valorant ahead of us. We've got a whole day tomorrow, which we do transfer into best of 3s. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Yeah, we're going to be going to best of 3s, and do you know what? I know a lot of people say best of 1s, they're great and everything, but I feel like best of 3s really push each other's team, because you're not going down to that one singular map. And you can have loads of flukes in one map. You can, someone's just had a life like 2-3 rounds, which kind of like decides the entire map and then the entire series. But then when you're talking about best of 3s, you always have to say the better team wins, because you have so many opportunities to iron out those, well, either mistakes or the hero rounds some players have had. And it really does look into the consistency of the teams when you're talking about longer series. That's why I love a best of 5 grand final.
I mean, who doesn't? More games, more kind of rigorous tests for the teams is always fantastic, and we might even get some spicy maps. We've all been talking about the Lotus. Maybe that'll come out in best of 3.
I want Lotus.
Oh, desperately.
Oh, honestly, but like again, it's a best of 1. They have so many opportunities to ban it away. It's a 1 in 7 chance, if not even less, because players aren't going to really want to go to it because it's such a new map. But I believe a lot of teams in Lock-in have been playing Lotus, and I think maybe there's going to be a little sneaky strat stealing or comp lineup stealing, especially when we're going into like Polaris and the VCLs. They have introduced Split and Lotus now into the map pool and taken out Bind and Breeze. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Challenger Leagues are, well, facing up to.
Yeah, I think obviously that kind of level is a real great glimpse into what we're going to see going forward as well. Obviously, you get a tournament meta when you have things like Lock-in, which might kind of change things. And obviously, people haven't had so much time to work with Lotus in the same kind of scale as they have with a lot of the other maps. So, you know, kind of shying away for it or opting for it if they want to get a surprise in that kind of situation. So it's interesting to see. We're not going to be having Lotus today. That was banned away, as were Ascent, Split, Icebox, and Haven. So it'll be interesting to see what we end up with. It's on Pearl.
Okay, right. I can't lie. I've seen the ex-GigaHub roster, which we have Ego and Anguis on this team. They are 2 other players here from that roster, but on another team, they've kind of like gone their separate ways, but they're still there as that core, that little power duo. And Pearl was probably one of their better maps. They took, I think, even in the grand finals, they took the map away from Le Petit Bouffons. So let's see if under the guidance of Stokesy, they're going to be able to replicate the similar kind of results, especially against a team that maybe some wouldn't put up to the same likes of Le Petit Bouffons, like versus Control.
I think that's fair. Control are a strong team, but they're not quite Le Petit Bouffon. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes really desperately, because, as you say, I want to see Stokesy's calling on this map.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really regard this map as a fantastic one, and especially for kind of flexing your calls, especially with the way you have to play around mid, and a lot of those rotates being slightly longer. I definitely have that under my mind, and I think Anguist is really going to come into the fore at these longer ranges. His aim is pretty fantastic, so I'm just looking forward to seeing that guy dome some kids.
I definitely wouldn't want to be on the other end of that peak
no.
from him.
No.
But when we were talking about, like you're talking about the calls from Stokesy, I really want to see how Sid comes into his own as well against a team like Insight. We haven't seen them up against each other this tournament, and technically not against each other as a 5v5 because the new changes on Insight with, well, the X2 cores, and then also Control having swapped out one of their players for Daki, now back on his Sentinel role, back from the Dark region. But what I'm really interested in is, like you said, the calls. How reactionary are these teams going to be playing? Because when we talk about Pill, we talk about, okay, we're going to put A main or B main pressure, but they tend to leave mid until the late round or towards the mid round. You tend to take towards the mains, secure an anchor or an anchor player, they maybe leave an Astra, and then they then really hit towards mid, clear that space. And I don't think we'll have many one avenue pushes. I'm really interested into seeing what kind of lurks that we're going to get going on from either Sentinel or even the Smokes players if they're opting for this Astra, since her utility is universal and can be 3 million miles away and still be managed into smoke, stun, suck, and everything over towards the site that they're attacking, and then freeze them up for the lurk. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to be approaching that, but only time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. To kind of talk about a little bit of Control that I'm interested to see how it's going to go, I'm really interested to see what Marky's going to pick. And as I say that, we are getting into game, and I am really interested to see whether Insight are going to prove their dominance or whether the reinforcements from the Dark region in Daki is going to be able to push them over the edge and let Control take it. I want to see Marky over on this Raze. Now, okay, Marky, yes, I understand. You play the Jet. You have the Jet. I'm looked at your stats, mate. Play the Raze, please.
He's locked it in.
Thank you very much.
There we go. That's our lineups now. So we have a double smoker on the side of Control. I'm quite interested to see how they're going to be doing this. They have no Sentinels, which means, I'm assuming from the way they've lined this up, you're going to have Sid taking that role. Especially since they start on the defense, you're going to have lots of util towards double doors. They're going to be taking the place of this Killjoy on Anguist. They're going to be taking similar sort of roles, making sure to lock down certain regions of this map.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they effectively use that Viper. I do think it's strong here, but obviously double controller really means it can be difficult to kind of push back. If you don't place them right, you can hamstring your own team instead. So definitely looking at that and how Control use it. I think they're a team who certainly can. But another thing which I really want to highlight, which also has those walls, is the Phoenix coming out here from Ego, and I am 100% here for it. Big Phoenix fan, and I think it's really good. There's a lot of angles which you have to flash and push aggressively on this map, and I think that Phoenix is a great way to do that.
And I do like how we have KO in both these teams. We were talking about the double flashes from the side of John Howard on Haven. That was proved, well, pivotal for their win, being able to, well, entry with 2 duelists with the Yoru, but then you also had the double initiator sort of thing with the Yoru and Sky acting as sort of brethren in arms. And similar thing with the KO and the Phoenix Open for the side of Insight Gaming. But start of this round, it's going to go off quite slow. The knife from Daki is just only going to know one of the players as they walk down Belong.
Tries to use a Prowler, get a little bit of information, but Insight seem like they're just going to pile on into this one. You know, it's a pistol round. It's not surprising to see them do that. They've got a player on the flank, but not going to be up to very much here. As utility starts to get invested, that wall is up. They're going to try and push them out very early here. A lot already down to try and buy that little bit of time, a little bit of extra chance for a rotate here, as there could be 4 players on the site very, very briefly. Look at that mid as well coming in from the Astra. That's going to be a big contester as the knife goes in. They're going to get so much information there. It does actually go off. I thought it might get shot out, but it will tell them, and you can see already, Insight, they're backing off.
Yeah, and that only notes 4 players, and they're going to be aware of this and aware of the instability of this Astra's positioning. But JKG, is he going to be the one to take the duel, to take the first blood of this round? Or is it going to be back and forth, not even taking the gunfight?
30 seconds left.
Is he aware that he's already crossed through? You see his shoulder, but no, Jaff sees his shoulder first and connects that shot. Now he's going into the side exec.
Yeah, the linchpin of that push there. Jaff does manage to get it, but MJD delivers too and brings it back to even after finally falling there. Marky tries to spur themselves forward, but is relatively alone, but hits some shots, and with the backup from Daki, that power from the German region, giving them an opportunity to try and open this up here. The time is ticking, and you can see that Jaff didn't have it, and that was so well played by Control.
And look at that, even off getting that first blood, even catching JKG unawares. And look at that, first point on the board, especially important for a map like this, I would say would be more attacker-sided. But again, with the comp differences, it could be up in the air, and it is nice to see, well, both teams have kind of full guns blazing, ending up in a 1v2 situation for the side of Jaff. Unfortunately, not going to be able to clutch it out. We've seen him in his pirate costume. He's not going to be stealing anything away in that round there. But we're going into a bye round now for the side of Control Esports. Only pistols on the side of Insight. No really great forcing here since the spike was not planted. No extra funds in the pocket. No doubloons in the side of Pirate Jaff.
No, unfortunately not going to be able to have any extra cannon firepower to get that one going. They have to sail on into this A site, as it seems. They're already perched on up for it, but instead they're going to have to climb back up the rigging and back towards that mid. And I think really reevaluate their positions. I think already they've shown they understand how to use mid really effectively here, and I think that was something we highlighted as being really important. But pushing into JKG here could be a real problem for them. Obviously, Prowler gives away a lot of information here, so there's going to be a lot coming their way, but no push comes just yet. They're making them expend a lot of their utility. And with Sid down here, they're even able to upgrade. This is big for Stokesy and the rest of the gang to push on in. Look at Daki, wants to try and get something, but unfortunately can't. MJT on the back does lead to a little bit more. That spray down was almost more than just one, but Ego still takes a lot of damage. Has to heal up, obviously has those hot hands, and they get the spike down.
And that's a Space Spectre on the floor there for one of the other teammates to be able to upgrade with now. But it is going to be a 3v3. Similar health on either side. Maybe a little bit worse for Way on the side of Insight, but the utility game, I think, is all in their favor. Now the positions are away from that reveal. JKG getting one, Marky getting another, and now it is a 2v1. Ego on 4 HP, not even going to be able to get one. And look at that. How expensive have they made that round? Coming in with the only classics. What can we expect for a gun round if that's what they're coming in with, classics versus Spectres?
I mean, there's a reason why we consider Inset to be the best team at this tournament right now, and it's plays like this. This was really well played, honestly, from Control. They caught them in a really great couple of situations that they could get good spray downs, and that was in spite of the fact that Insight were just in the right place at the right time. So Control, I actually think, really managed to wrest that back, because that easily could have been a loss for them. Do really like the fact as well that they were happy to be so aggressive. If there was one player left alive, I would have been so happy to see Ego invest that run it back as well, and that easily could have flipped the round straight back. There were so many different points there, and that shows just how tight the match between these two teams is going to be.
When we're talking about the running back, it's already available in the third round, possibly going to get even utilized now, but MJT getting that pick with the Spectre, even though they're lower on these guns, able to get 1-for-1, which realistically is a good trade at this point for the side of Control. They're coming into it with probably, I think it's 1 Phantom and 1 Spectre. But what I wanted to mention was in the last previous rounds, we've had Insight Gaming taking these like early main pressure, whether it's getting a kill or not, but they're always investing in the orb control, which especially with util like the run it back, it's only 6 orb points, and that's technically a second life for the side of Insight, a 6th man per se for this team.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Obviously, it's a great way to entry here, but it seems like Angwest is just happy to open sites up on their own. With Daki gone, that means that retake is going to be a lot less powerful. JKG looking for a chance to maybe upgrade here. Does manage to pick it up, I believe. He's waiting on the other side here, suppressed, but now has access to that Prowler. Could set up for the rest of their team. And you can see 2 players of Insight backing off. They do not want to commit too hard towards it. And they're all sitting in the back here, waiting with their remaining utility. And the turret as well, giving away a lot of information. They know the players have stepped onto site off the back of that. The Viper's Bite cuts off a lot of the push here, and they're looking for a chance to move forward. You can see the Nano Swarm there. You see it pop, and there's going to be more coming that way as well, likely. Angwest shoots it out, looking for a chance to move forward. That hole is nothing for them, and neither is Sid, as they easily clean that one up.
Really nice crit shots from the Killjoy on Angwest there, and well, it's 2v1, 2-1 in this scoreline now. Still got the run it back available, but look at the ult economy for the side of Insight. It does seem that we're getting closer to Angwest ult towards Jaff's ult towards Egos, which realistically versus the Null Command and the Nightfall could be more pivotal in the rounds going forward, especially when we're going now into our first gun round. No operator on the board yet for the side of Control, whether they're going to be opting that with their comp. We haven't really got a character or an agent that you'd normally see holding that operator and holding down these long angles. So interesting if they are going to opt for that in the future.
Yeah, I think they certainly could. I think its beat side is obviously fantastic for it, and there's a lot of ways you can kind of just lock down such a big position. Going to be already investing little bit of a push towards this B site. And again, they put pressure towards that, but they keep an eye on that mid. Again, keep an eye on the Astra and where they're going to be pretty much the entirety of this map, because I promise you, it's going to be thinking about those rotates, going to be the kind of hinge for their team. If they want to swap to another site, they focus on that.
Yeah, you got to hinge around your lurker, so it's going to be around Jeff for the side of Insight. And, well, whenever we've seen him, he's been the opposite side of his team.
As indeed, Sid looking for a chance to step forward here, and they use the vulnerability and the fragment, but it's just about enough to finish it off. They even take down Ego. Oh, this is so big for Control right now as they absolutely step into command of this round. And you can see already, Insight looking at it again, is like, okay, do we rotate?
And look at this, Jaffs needs to get a pick here to be able to give that linchpin for his team to rotate or to crunch down onto these players. But it does seem that they are aware Sid's going to be taking this peek. Oh, the timing with the knife out, but the Astra ult comes in. The shots are connected, and it does not help his teammate. Stokely's back on site now, and it is a 3, well, take my words out my mouth, it is a 2 versus 4 for the retake.
Oh, this looked so good for Control Esports. They had everything they needed, but Jaff on that flank, denying so much and just winning the jewels for the rest of Insight Gaming is again a highlight on how much firepower this squad has available to them. Do not count them out in these situations. They are really able to deliver.
Yeah, but it does seem like they are going to be calling for a save, which is safe to say the better option here. They've just come back off their bonus round, which they had lost previously, and now they've just lost their first rifle round going in. They need to save these guns, save up the economy, maybe go for some exits here if it's possible, but it doesn't seem that any of the Insight players are going to have to venture out based on where the plan is done. But just talking about, you were talking about Jaff's look, it wasn't even like, he was known to be there. The timing was aware, and look at that. Are they going to be able to keep the gun?
Oh, they even get another, and the Haunt doesn't lead towards anything just yet. They're trying to get the all bang, and JKG survives.
If he died to that turret then, would not have been a great day to be Control JKG. But we're talking about the look from Jeff. They are aware of it. So it's not as if it's completely bad, the round that we've just had, which was our first gun-to-gun round, which I'm really interested to see if they do anything to proactively counter this other than maybe, said, do you want to check flank, do you want to check mid, being aware of this timing possibility that Jaff may have had. Because he's done this twice now. He's managed to sneak his way in, whether it was checked for either way, but still left unattested, it can grow to be a pain, and he's already a pain in this round, taking the first kill.
Yeah, indeed. Desperately trying to move forward. The shots from the Sheriff hit. Those paint shells force the rest of them back. Good play from here from Control to try and convert this into a little bit more. But, I mean, Insight, they get what they need, and then they leave. They only lose one player in the end. But, I mean, they're very happy to just shift up that plan again. Look at how deep this time Anguist is. Not going to be Jaff this time, but still a player who is just able to be rotated around. Sometimes the seen, or in this case the unseen lurk, is the deadliest. As you can see, Anguist is waiting for it. Is likely going to catch this player in spawn as they move on through. No, Daki just wins the duel. Not what I expected to see. Did not know that Anguist was, sorry, Daki was aware of that one. But it's going to be the round likely off the back of this anyway. It's 3 versus 1, and MJT is very separated from the rest of this map and the rest of the fight.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times now that it does seem that, again, even though this is Nico, it's not to take this one to heart really for the side of any Control fans or supporters. It is a round that we're expecting them to lose realistically, maybe get a few kills. They've managed to get 2 there. The damage has been done, okay? The damage has been done. Jaff's going to have to rebuild shields. It's not the worst situation that they're coming into this in, only with Sheriffs. We had 1 rifle brought over and saved from the last round, but I really need to see some proactive space from them.
Indeed. Now, thinking very quickly about this map, do you think it's defender side or attacker side? Do you think it's important that the Insight have managed to start to rack up these 3 points and are getting into control of things?
Okay, I want to say it's attacker sided based on reactionary. If you're playing with this reactionary play, which it does seem like they are not particularly tended towards every round, they tend to take towards A main or towards mid, and then they linchpin then with their rotates around Jaff and Jaff's position, or Anguist like we saw in the last round. And run it back is going to be invested, not going to be met with anyone, really respecting Ego's ultimate here, and all the information's gathered. Yeah, there's no one in the way.
Yeah, they know that there's no one there, but they also think, okay, they're backing off. There's likely some players. They're likely going to rotate towards this, so we're going to have to invest something else. The Nightfall goes in, and you can see Elite She just steps up to the plate and deals with Sid here. Means now they can start to step out, but maybe crouch walking through that one is ill-advised as it trades back towards 4. And the map is still very much in control of Control here, which is not where I expected to be. Yeah,
definitely, but we say it's in the control of Control, but look where Yan JKG is out on that fade. They aren't aware that they have this control, that they have being given back this space by the side of Insight. They're going to have to rework to reclaim that unless we can get any sort of information on the amount of players towards this long. But Marky's going to take that amount of players down by 1. Ego now, well, dead to rights for this round.
Gets the spray through. Daki even takes another. This is really, really big for them. The fact that we're able to get that initial frag and stop this push from really coming on in, because that was going to be the deal breaker. They got that frag, it was going to be 3 versus 2 on the site. The push could easily come, and now they're being forced into positions where they have to make their move. The time is ticking against them, absolutely. And you know, it's the 6th man. It's the way that you force people to do things when you're on the defense. The onus is really not on you. And I think that, I mean, Insight, they wasted a little bit of time there, trying to mess around a little bit. And as a result, Control were able to lock that one out. Some fantastic frags here from Control, and they bring things back to even.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see how much space they, well, gave up, especially after that mid-run. Then they got the pick onto Sid, who's playing towards that double door. They knew Daki was towards Link all the way at the bottom now, towards B side, but all they had left was that one position from Anguis in that water, the cubby hole. And after that kill was dead, they were like, okay, we're going to respect it. We're going to go all the way back into B main, which then focused the attack into one channel, which, well, it hasn't really worked out for them since the utility from the side of Control Esports has been amazing.
Yeah, they've been using it really well, and this is not something I expected so much from Control Esports. We've seen good play from them before, but they seem very well drilled here on Pearl, which is always nice to see. But MJT getting picked off, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the drills there, but unfortunately, getting taken down means that this site is going to be so wide open, and this is where Insight have really thrived. They've got control of the map, and now it's just so far gone. Marky is going to have to put up a standout performance in order to take this one back.
Yeah, they've got to be aware of how much they're pushing CT by these steps now, by that knife, the null command now wearing out. The utility is going to be back online for majority of these Control players, but it's not going to be doing any utility since Anguis is just putting them all dead to rights. That's 1, 2, 3, all solo peaks, and now it's all down to the shoulders of Marky for the side of Control Esports, and it's looking like his chances are dwindling.
Yeah, well, sometimes the best utility is a bullet to the head.
Yeah, that works as well. Yeah.
I mean, you can't really do anything if you're dead. So that's the game plan, honestly, from Insight. They take control over the map, they kill the enemy players, they win. It's a very simple game plan, but it works so darn well, especially when you've got great calls coming out from the rest of the team.
Yeah, if we shoot them, they can't use their util to kill us.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
But talking about util, we have the null command, we have the Nightfall from the side of Control. But are we going to see that in a proactive use? Are we going to see it in reactionary? Or are we going to see it in a complete retake? Which I much prefer something proactive. I really want to see them take this proactive space because it doesn't seem like they're pushing past your defensive line. Like you say where all the barriers start at the beginning, majority of those players have died behind that barrier. Whether, like, they haven't really pushed into it, explored any parts of deep mid, and, well, wary of position of Jaff, but I'm eating my words at the moment as if we look towards A main, we have a player creeping up, but it is just Nika around. Let's see if we can get a shot in the back to Pirate Jaff.
Yeah, only classics available, and while they can be fantastic, it's normally up close, so not so effective for the team right now. Ishii getting ready to push into this one, has access to the flash, so we'll be able to clear that pretty effectively. Marky looking for a way to kind of hop on in here, gets the right click, gets the weapon, but unfortunately it was short-lived, as Ego will not let that one stand. Inside Gaming, they clean things up, and it's just like, well,
oh, okay. Lovely shots from JKG, and look at that. 2 sheriffs, 2 shots, and that's 2 bodies down for the count of this, right? Gonna have to rebuy into that round. But I really loved MJT. He did walk off main. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get that pick, but didn't lose his life either. Just give some sort of pressure to Jaff. We're not seeing anything. He's just been allowed to walk away freely, wander through mid, sometimes even through art. I really want to see them take a hold of his positioning, whether that's proactively keeping him out of helping the rest, whether that's like distracting him or anything like that, or, well, going and sending a kill force, like a tag team, to go get this man down to the count and take the smokes off the board.
Yeah, I was going to say a tag team I think is a really good call, because my worry is Jaff is really, really good. He's a fantastic player, hits his shots like no one's business. And I think if you're looking at that and you're on Control right now, you don't want to step up to him. You do not want to 1v1 this guy. It's not worth it. If you lose that mid, you lose the round, basically. If you mess up there, that's all gone. But I completely agree with you. If they invest some utility, if they invest in ultimate even, I don't even mind them doing that, and take control of the map, when Insight are stuck in their own half and unable to be the one making plays, they seem very indecisive and unable to push. Sometimes they get a play, someone just hits a headshot, and you know what, that happens. But a lot of the time, Insight are kind of struggling to make their way forward unless we see a very, very reserved, very defensive slant from Control Esports.
Yeah, from what we're talking about Control Esports, it does seem like we're all sat on sites, which sometimes it can work that total positioning, but especially against a team similar to Insight who are going to be pressuring one side and the other and mid, possibly all at the same time. It really does leave a lot to wonder, but the runner back is already back online for the side of Insight, but Marky gets that shot.
Yeah, such a big shot to get as well. Don't take out Ego, but obviously he retakes Marky. However, with Jaff pushing up forward, the duo, the fact that they're getting these refrags is so darn big, and again, shows the coordination between this squad. Yes, sure, they're not very well drilled together a lot of the time, but they've got enough, they can work well together.
There we go.
I was bigging them up.
Working well together.
And then they all died together, unfortunately.
Exactly. we win together, you die together, you lose the rounds together. That's the only thing. Important to know as a team, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But Control Esports, let's go. We're back in it. It does seem like they have really broken the tie, broken the, well, never-ending curse, really, of the Insight. They tend to get one every now and then, hopefully making this towards at least a 6-6 half for the side of Control. Since I don't know what they're going to be doing. I haven't got much idea on what they're going to be planning for the side of attack, which, especially with double smokers, I'm quite interested in how it's going to work, since obviously Sid on this Viper is probably going to be playing towards the Sentinel sort of role. Is it going to be as lackluster as the Astra we've had playing it, or the Killjoy?
Yeah, I think it's going to be... I think it's actually going to be really good. I think Sid is going to do a lot, especially on the offense here. And I actually think Control are going to take this map with how it's happening right now. When it comes down to it, Insight are a team who thrive when they're the ones making the decisions. They're the ones making plays. When you've got players like Anguis, the individuals making fantastic calls and fantastic shots. But when the onus is on them to play defensively and slow, I don't know if they deliver in the same way. I'm really looking towards Control to really be the ones who take control of when they, no pun intended, when they go into that attacking side, and things could really shift up. Obviously, we still got a lot of time and could not be exactly how it goes down, but I've got a feeling that Control might just have an upset in the making.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see how, like you said, Insight on this defense, if they are going to be defending or, well, flipping the turns and continue on their attacking half. But looking at the positions now, we do have, well, all of the players to the right side of this map going in for an A split through Art, and, well, JKG and the Astra, they're going to be taking first contact.
Prowler goes in, but that first contact is MJT going down, and now that means that A site is far more open than it was before. Something you got to keep in mind, there was no one really waiting there, but that flash was absolutely fantastic. Again, the coordination from these team members. That rocket hits, and the spike does not get planted. That's so... Oh, no, it does. Okay, but they're still down to one player. That's the important part. Anguis could deliver here, but with the Prowler giving away their position and making it so they're nearsighted, JKG is naturally going to reap the rewards for that one, moving to even Stevens. And again, I think Control look really good on this map.
It really does seem like something's clicked in their heads from the last couple of rounds. They've looked a lot more convincing, whether that was winning or losing, especially in the last 3 or 4 rounds. We had 2 losses, 2 wins to either side. Pretty even Stevens, like you did say. So I really want to see now, because look at the ult economy. Only 1 ult was invested from the side of the showstopper on Marky there. And, well, leaves a lot to expect from what we're going to be seeing from the 4 remaining ults from their side. Since it is only 2 rounds left in the half, it's use it now or lose it.
Yeah, I really think you want to be investing it now to make sure that you basically get that extra round, the very final round of this half, basically for free. You're playing into pistols, so it should be an easy lockout. Obviously, they've got an advantage of Insight, so they should be leveraging it. I want to see teams use it aggressively, and I think this is the exact kind of situation where Control desperately need to be.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Astra ult with the Cosmic Divide.
Yes.
It can leave a lot for these retakes, or even just hard stopping a push, and I really want to see how they're going to use it. Or at least how Insight are going to be approaching it, and how they're going to work around these ult possibilities from the side of Control, or they're just going to go, we don't care, if we kill you, it doesn't matter what ults you had or have not got.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a fight against Squirrely in these avenues. Stokesy leading the charge for their team. Going to poke on out, but JKG barely doesn't find it. There's a lot of information going over there towards their team. You already see the rotate starting to come in a little bit over from that B side, but the trades taking out Marky are going to be pretty darn huge here. They've got the Nightfall, they've got a lot coming. Ego tries to go for it, looks for an opportunity to set up. The shots come in from MJT, and they're able to escape here, but into the waiting of, no, they catch, no! Jeff manages to make it happen! And that was an Astra Diff right there. The aim on point. JKG waiting in the wings, desperately looking for a chance to pop out here and pop off 2 versus 4. This was looking so good for the side of Control Esports, but now they really are on the back foot. JKG is going to basically have to raw push into this one, and with the Cosmic Divide gone, it gives them a little bit more space to do so, but so many angles to deal with. They take down Lychee, means they need to take down just 3 more. There's someone waiting in the wings. It was Ego, and they just didn't have the time for Daki to come on in with this rotate. No point in investing the ultimate, so instead Daki just looking to raw dog this one here. There's going to be a lot of utility going their way. There's no way they can pick this one up, basically. Flashes to escape, save that rifle for the next round, and they do have another chance to contest.
Yeah, especially for the side of Control. It wasn't too much of a bad round loss, not too many ults invested, and I believe they should all be able to fall by next round. Inside Gaming, this was kind of like the breaking point for them for their economy. This was the round that they needed to win, in which they have. They recognize that this is, well, their chance to bring it back in, and are unfortunate about that timing from, well, the players converging on this player odds in a world that could have been. But look at this, we have that operator. We finally have that operator online for Marky on that raise. Possibly going to be able to get up onto these off angles with those satchels, but we do have a buy coming in for the side of Inside. All full bought here now, so it is the last round.
I just wanted to highlight very quickly that where Marky is playing with his operator. He's playing towards mid here, which is not what I expected. Really looking to try and find that opening pick, expecting someone to push on out. Has got that backup as well in the fade, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of players pushing on into that B site. Now, if the utility goes on in time, and there's a quick rotate coming out from the raise here, it's still going to take a long time. They need to buy enough so that Marky can move into position. Otherwise, this long angle that normally you can leverage with the operator is not going to come to the fore. Daki communicates now, and you start to see players looking at it. They want to get the lockdown, and Anguish does just that. They're going to set up for this one, especially with the Viper's Pit. It's going to be hard to push into, but Ego believes that they can do it. Clears out a lot with that running back. It's so much information. Now Lychee can go for that plant. The Viper's Pit clears because they have to get pushed off the site, but they managed to deny Lychee from getting, oh no, the spike goes down regardless, but they managed to at least get the frag up, and it's the shot, it's the util, it's everything else. Ego tried to make it happen, but it wasn't enough. And Control Esports, they tie up the half.
Do you know, it really seems like we're seeing a different side to Control Esports when they're going in for these fast retakes. Because when we're talking about these slow, I wouldn't say more methodical, because both times it's been quite methodical, whether it's fast or slow, but it's when they're going for these slow clearing angles, when we're walking towards A, when we're taking quite slow. You've already lost one, you don't want to lose anyone too quickly. But then when we're going towards B, when we're talking about the B retakes, that is a completely different story. We have Marky satcheling with a shorty out. We have nade kills going left, right, and center, but it's also the pressure from all the other teammates. Every single person there with the prowlers, with the combo of utility. That we literally just said util at the point in that retake, which is really nice to see from the side of Control Esports. Definitely can tell it's been dry runned a lot.
You know, people talk about like the ideal way to play like Valorant. In a lot of games, you like play clean, play sensible. You can't always be clean and sensible. Sometimes you got to go, frick it, we ball. I'm trying not to swear on broadcast, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Sometimes you got to loosen it up a little bit. Sometimes you got to shake your hands and absolutely run it down in the most strategical way possible. But the most strategical way possible, Control Esports have found themselves through Connector on top of some of these players as well, and that's 2 kills in. The information of Stokesy's positioning is there, but Marky low to his HP. Trades going left and right. Now it's back down to this 3v2. MJT is just chasing.
Oh, barely didn't take Stokesy out there. And that is going to be 3 HP, but Marky and the gang, they've got that spike down. Anguist is really going to have to step up here, but with the Ghost in hand, do not count this man out. He absolutely could find this, and neither of the players are looking his way. This is so big, such a good opportunity, but they're coming round the back. It depends on if they notice, if they hear anything here. The drop, I believe, was silent, so they're not going to get anything. Anguist is checking back, trying to figure out where they are, but Stokesy is down, however, needs to know where those 2 players are. There's going to be a little bit more utility there. You see it come on through. Anguist hits the shot, just needs one more, just needs that head to finish off JKG here, and I love that JKG is playing passive. does not need to mess around, does not need to find out. They know Anguist is a talented player, so why give them the opportunity to do anything otherwise? It's the shot! I don't know if they have enough time. I'm listening for it. It is indeed
he has
0.63 seconds!
A 4v2, I believe it came out to be, yes, or possibly a 4v3 trades coming back in, but Anguist, it was all down onto his shoulders. Maybe a little bit of like a distraction from his other teammate there in that clutch on the side of Stokesy, but look at that. The timing, JKG just getting there after he was able to get that half, get off, get that kill, the lovely headshot, and then back on the defuse. And, well, that's one way to open up the second half of this map, isn't it?
It really is, honestly. That could have gone so different if that had gone slightly different for Control. JKG was a split second later. That's an entirely different round start, and that changes this half massively. We're talking about the momentum, and I think Insight are a team who will not give that up lightly.
Yeah, and it's not even about a momentum, it's about the game. You've lost the pistol when you were a 6-6 half, and now leading the charge in the round differential Insight Gaming, but Anguist, they're blind. Traded though.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell he was blind getting hit by that one, but look at Litchi stepping up to the plate. But Daki does not miss with this gun. The Marshal looking strong in their hands as they dole out the law.
And I believe there's a Vandal backside for these players to pick back up.
Yep.
Insight, well, sacrificing one of their rifles over, but the Stinger on Ego is going to be not proven as fruitful. Daki on his third for this round. A 2v2 now. MJT on this Marshal, and now all down to the Daki, but no. But Eco. It was an Eco, okay. It's an Eco, and that looked very, 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 very competitive.
It did. Honestly, I did not expect the Marshal to do so well.
No.
I think it's a map where it can, but I was kind of shocked to see that happen. Really well played to try and bring that, and I thought Daki was going to turn the tide for the team, but in the end, when you're whiffing those Marshal shots, it kind of shows the duality of the Marshal. Sometimes you're hitting everything, and then we saw someone else pick it up and whiff everything. That's unfortunate, just the way it goes.
Yeah, but even then, you don't even have to hit those headshots too well,
Right,
get
true.
any sort of damage. You get 101 for a body shot, which even in this, they did have full shields, yes, but you have players with classics, with sheriffs. 101 can prove quite a lot in these gunfights, in which, well, was proven to us by Control Esports just now.
Was indeed. Daki this time over on the Sheriff, not got anything left for that one, as you can see the rest of Insight Gaming getting ready to push forward aggressively this time towards that mid. Don't end up opting for it because of the utility that comes their way, and instead Control are again going to be the aggressors. But you see everyone on Insight right now coalescing towards that middle area, really looking to contest whatever push is coming, because they believe Control Esports are looking at this and going, okay, we need to do something big. That nade's going to clear out a lot, going to set up for it the flash, but they still get tagged and caught for a decent amount. But it's not quite time yet for Control Esports to pounce on this one.
Yeah, a little bit of chip damage. Now the information, they know there's going to be two players in front of them, but is Atashi's position a weird?
Oh, wow. Was that run it back already? The run it back, I think, came out already.
So, yeah.
Jesus.
Well, it does help that you're getting a lot of kills, getting a lot of plants and defuses and orbs and kills and anything else that you can get to secure these points, but the timing on that peek from Sid and Stokes, it does seem like they're just dancing around each other behind this box. Who's going to be peeking first? You see the gun barrel, but are you aware of the player that's going to be playing left? He is, he gets the shot, and now he knows where Stokes is. Does he know? Now look at the shots down. The Sheriff in the hands of Sid is diabolical.
Oh my lord, that was so big for them. Such a great way to pick this one up. They're going to be able to get that spike down. Marky's getting pushed off, yes, but will still be able to convert towards this fight. Takes down Jaff. And sure, Daki falls, but it's still 1 versus 3. Again, let's not count Anguist out for too long, but Sid.
Sheriff.
Oh, so big. I was a little bit worried there we were going to see a repeat of round 1.
Well.
But we didn't.
We're not going to see a repeat of that one. I think they've learned their lesson not to give too much leeway to the side of Insight Gaming. But Insight Gaming, well, they've given a little bit too much, a bit off more than they can chew with the peaks from Sid and Marky. And oh my gosh, those Sheriff shots. Absolutely sublime, and the awareness that Sid had, knowing that player was behind that box there, just dancing around, and the awareness to check the left corner without just running around trying to secure that one kill there, caught him off guard. and connects those shots.
Yeah, and to go back to something we were talking about before, the veterancy of these players. They've been in these situations. They know what's going on, and they know the kind of pushes people like to go for here. Anguis tries to make that Marshall work for themselves, but unfortunately does get taken down by the Bulldog there. More problematic for them as, again, Control take this B site and, well, make it their own. Put that spike down.
Look at the flank coming in. We have a double up in flank. And it is nice that they have committed 2 players to, well, really contest this. Sid in this corner, Jaff caught off guard, and there we go, MJT right there to back up his teammate. And now 5v2, are they going to be able to make this a flawless round? No, there we go. Stakesy has a say in it with the Sheriff. Is it his turn to be the Sheriff Demon? Bulldog in hand now, trading damage back and forth. Daki secures the kill before Stakesy can take too many of his players down for the count this round.
Yeah, Sid going to be waiting here. And okay, regardless of what happens this round, I don't think Ego's going to be able to pick it up. So I'm just going to say this is a really nice deconstruction of how this round was going to go. Ego gets tagged up and now can't stick around, maybe try and find something. Instead dies to Sid there, pads their sides a little bit. But yeah, really nicely done by Control in how they deconstructed the entirety of that offense. Sorry, of the kind of retake from Insight Gaming. They were ready for the backstab. They were ready for the players. Look, I know that flash didn't end up working out for them, and they actually lost a player as a result. But they were ready for it. They were prepping, and they could see exactly what was coming. And again, this is, I think, Control Esports being more proactive, and that is exactly what we asked of them.
Absolutely, and especially it's like if you say it's easier to be proactive on your attack, it's harder on your defense, which we did see Inside Gaming. Yeah, we had those 2 players committed to the flank. Could this possibly a difference in, well, outcome if they had those rifles on hand? And I really do want to keep seeing the defensive team explore the different avenues. We basically have 4 if you want to take it all the way to defender and attacker spawn. But mainly mid, mainly towards B, if we can get an anchor all the way up to the top side B. You gain so much information from that and are able to stack towards mid and towards A, which is kind of what we have in now, but the position of Jaff on the side of Insight isn't as far up, just with that jump peek in, making sure there's no funny business happening on B long.
Don't want to have anyone muck about on that one. So instead, they're making sure they have all the information. The only place where there's a little bit lacking is that mid, but they've got all those exits covered. They're going to be able to deal with that in a different way. Now, we see that focus towards mid again coming out here from Control Esports. They've got 2 players towards, but with Sid calling this, with everything happening here, where are they going to commit towards? Is this going to be a fake? Is this going to be a push towards it? You see everybody rotating away, even invest the Viper's Pit, but we know, obviously, but no one else knows. This is going to be an A-site hit. Now, I love the fact that Insight, they were completely on top of that. Sid takes down Anguist, but they're still pushing on into it. The rotates have come back towards the A-site. They read this like a book, so this could fall apart at the seams. Finally, Sid dies, but it's a trade 1-for-1 in the end. So Insight Gaming over on 2, the plant goes down. They are forced off, and Control are able to get into position. But with Daki falling, this is starting to look a little bit worrisome. Control, they set up well. They got that first pick. They got the bait. They forced players towards the rest of it. But with Ego with this wall, with a way to push up, this is a nice way to open up this site. And 3 players really need to be able to pounce on this at the right time. Timing is so darn key. They cut off one. They start to be able to look towards this. They know there's going to be someone coming from this angle due to the way the position is planted. Dragged on out, using that utility well. Marky uses the paint shells to defeat it again. Tries to use the concussion. They're buying every little bit of time. Can the shots come out? Ego hits 1, just needs 2 more heads to finish this one out. You can see it coming through. There's no time whatsoever, as you so correctly say, but Ego puts a little bit of a play on it.
Yeah, it definitely puts on a show for us, connecting those lovely headshots, especially that flick down from that reveal that we saw JKG had thrown to the roof and a wave crosshair displacement. Right, bro, it doesn't matter if you displace the crosshair 300 miles, it does seem that Ego is just going to be able to snap back down onto your head.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Sure, it doesn't lead to a round win, but it does reset some of that economy, and that is going to be impactful in some of these later rounds. It stops as well Control from being able to roll so much with their economy. Otherwise, they'd be sitting pretty with a couple of players on 4 to 5k here instead. Everyone's got rifles, yes, but still only got like 2 to 1. So making sure that money's not so problematic, so when they finally do win a round, it's going to be slightly more devastating and a bit more of a problem for Control Esports.
Especially with the economy at the moment for them, like you said, if they do get a round loss soon, they haven't got the loss bonus building up, so they do have to build up in, well, the sense of their piggy bank of the economy. But Tashi going to be able to connect these headshots. Is JKG going to be able to trade it out? Yes, he does, and Daki picks up 2 for himself in that round. A double for the 2 players on Control, only losing 1 for their efforts. Now, double the numbers. Are they going to be able to make much of an impact, Anguist and Jaff, on this retake?
And again, I want to point out, because they're on the attacking side, Control are able to be the ones taking the fight, choosing the fights, taking it wherever. They take these 2v1s or the 1v2s and they just make it happen. And from there, I mean, Insight aren't able to leverage their individual plays because you're playing 1v4. And look, Anguist, we saw you clutch it out before. But again, it's not in a position where you can feasibly do anything. You got that lockdown, yes, but you're not going to waste it here, right?
Right, and it's realistically, even if the lockdown was down, you have those two Astra Sucks, you have a KO nade, you have probably lineups for days on the side of this team, Control Esports. There's no way that they're even going to give him an inch to breathe, and yes, Angus is going to have to die to the spike here. MJT just making sure they have a miss here to tap, just to secure the round and make sure there's no funny business going on towards the site, and that's it. They've secured the 10th round, breaking into double digits now. A team that we were really lackluster on their defense, no aggressive plays, but now look at the space that they're taking, the command that they've really taken over on this half. They're now, well, they lost the first round, they lost the pistol, lost the buy up them, but they have run 4 rounds in a row now, really put in, well, and the backing behind their name. We were coming into this with high expectations from both teams, and Control has definitely stepped up in the last couple of rounds. Yeah,
I think this is really big for Control, because even if they don't win this game, we were a little bit worried about their play, right? Losing over to Swans is not what we were expecting from them. We expected a higher class, and they weren't necessarily delivering in their previous game against Nil, but being able to put up a map like this against Insight is so darn good, and I really still do think they'll win it. The key part here is how the coach of Insight is able to impact this, and how the team as a whole is able to rectify these mistakes, because they think they're probably aware, hey, we want to be the one making the plays, and that's hard on defense, but we've got to make it happen. How do we leverage our flashes and other parts to make space, exactly as you said?
Yeah, it's making space isn't just for entering onto the site of the duelist over either team, but is to make the space for the, well, control over this map. If you're giving up a main without a fight, you need to take it somewhere else. Think of it kind of like a traffic light system. You have a red, yellow, and green. Green is active. Green is something you're going for. Red is, you leave it alone. You give up the space if you need to. But yellow, you need that control, which at the moment, the control we have is towards double door and art with a killjoy util. But look at this. Look, this is the green space. We want this active, while push in, the flash coming out. All 3 blinded.
Oh, that's a great set of frags for them as well. And we were talking about, again, taking that advantage, taking the initiative away. And plays like that are absolutely a way to do it. Insight have understood the assignment completely.
They've understood our assignment, and do you know what, 100% on it as well. They've managed to get 2 pace without even, I don't even think they lost a single bout of HP. Only a little bit of util traded back and forth, but it's a little bit of util for 2 kills and putting you in such a fruitful position for the rest of this round.
Yeah, really, really nice here, and Control really can't push towards this unless they find a slurry of brilliant kills. First one starts off with Ego going down, but it's still 2 versus 4, and we can see the clutch come on in. The walls are good as well. They've got a lot of ways to cut off these angles, but obviously that post-plant utility is severely lacking if they want to try and contest this, with so many players still available and up from Insight Gaming. MJT is going to start to move forward, actually slips into the back of this one, but position at least somewhat known by the back of that knife. This spray is so big. This is a good opportunity. Sure, they lose MJT, but they've got a chance to maybe make this push happen. 1 versus 3. They need to get the spike down, but with so many players on so many different angles, it's so darn difficult. Jaff swings out wide and leverages that brilliant aim of his.
I really did like the play that they opted for in that position, to split up, take 1v2 duels, able to fruitful for one section, being able to get that one and get away, but unfortunately for MJT peering into spawn there as 2 players well aware of his positioning and shutting it down. But, right, it's okay. That's 1 round lost for them now. That's evening out a little bit. Only 1 round away now for Insight Gaming, but their ult is coming back online. Full ult economy for Insight Gaming, but the guns are equal in this round, and so is the util purchases. It's just the ult economy that we're going to have to watch out for.
Is indeed. I'm impressed by the fact that Insight have managed to come back from this. They've got 5 ultimates available. They've got a lot of ways. And I like as well that, you know, Control are a little bit more sensible about this one. They do not want to mess around. They do not want to get caught. So they're playing back. But the important part of this is now Insight has so much more space, so much more to work with. They do not know, likely, that Stokesy is on the other side of this.
They've got to be aware. They've got to do their due diligence and check your corners. Please, look. We know, they're checking it, but no, he gets two from that position, but the trays are there. So now it's back down to this 3v3. Still, the ults are more in favor inside gaming. JKG invest in this Nightfall just to make sure there's no one on site clearing out these angles. But is this smoke? Is Itachi going to be able to get this angle? It's KO on KO madness. And now in the more delicate position of a 2v3. And the bomb alone on site.
They can get this plant if they look for it, but keep an eye on where this Viper is. Coming back towards to give that little bit of space, to give that little bit of cover. Puts the drone on through, wants to try and find that. Sid is up close and personal. That no command coming right on out here. They want to contest this Insight Gaming. They can see an opportunity. They can smell the round in their hands. 25 seconds on the clock, and you can see the Control. They're a little bit worried about this. How do they turn this into a round they can win? But the patience here is fantastic from Insight. They don't commit towards it. JKG is alone, goes to the plant. Sid swings out wide. Big mistake here, and unfortunately for JKG, there are too many players to deal with. Very well done by Insight.
Absolutely, and look at that, is the blind, and there's nothing JKG could do about it. Left it in a possible situation, a 1v3 per that, but also a blind right in his face. He's not going to be using his monitor for the rest of that round.
And it all started with that initial pick, right? It was, again, a very similar setup to what we saw in the previous round. Insight using that tack pause to aplomb. Fantastically done, really setting up and then basically shifting how the game is played. Oftentimes you have like little mini games, you're like, oh, you're playing around this area. That's really important for this match and how they do it. That right there has completely focused the game around it. And you can see the Control aren't shying away. They know they need to win this. They know they have to win this interaction, so they got to make it happen. That B site is so comfortable for them, so they got to commit towards it. This time, there's no such shenanigans. How will they play it out? I
really wanted to see them do their due diligence. Yes, they did get the trades done, but then you're in such an awful position in the 3v3, especially with the agents that did survive. Yeah, you just gotta clear your angles a little bit more without losing two players to the same person on that angle. But we are going to be going into this B side. The Cosmic Divide invested. Stokesy's, while positioning away, Showstopper inbound now.
Is indeed. Marky's not going to commit towards it until the very bitter end there, but that spike's going right on down, and I really, really love this from them as well. Notice that divide means you don't hear that satchel charge, so they do not know there's going to be a player up here. However, they are all piling in towards it. They're going to know as a result of this Nightfall.
He's smoked up.
Oh, no, they won't, but it still has to drop down. No, they know, absolutely. The Decay is in there, and with Ego leaning forward with that run it back. Love the fact that they've chosen to use this Phoenix, and they use a Cosmic Divide of their own. Now pushing on into this. Well, that's going to be an easy defuse. They really can't contest it and Control esports. Oh my lord! They used the util so darn effectively, but then there was one, and unfortunately, the pulled off. They've still got loads of time though. There can't be enough coming towards it, and ISG, they do lock it out.
Okay, it's an interesting decision that with the ults available, like we did see the Cosmic Divide invested from the side of Insight along with the Nightfall and the run it back. So that was 3 ults for 1 retake, which is fine. It's fine if we can get that round in which they did. They've secured that round. That's their 3rd now in a row. Really put in Control esports on the back foot in this. And that was an expensive round for them as well. They used 4 of their ults and, well, 3 of their ults, sorry, and 4 for what?
It is true. ISG do have some weakness on them, but I think it's in a position akin to boxing. There was body blow after body blow. Control esports, they looked like they were in command of this game. Everything looked like it was coming up then, but ding, ding, ding. We're going into the 2nd round. It comes up to Insight. They step up. They had a word with their 2nd. They were ready. They came out swinging, and now it feels like Control are reeling. They are on the ropes. They invested everything. It's not quite there, and it's the very bitter end. They're both at the end of their stamina. How do they make this work?
Yeah, and this is the round that they've managed to pull away the lead. Now they are leading the charge 11-10. It is looking like a possibility of closing this out in regulation for Insight if they're able to win this round, since, well, Control will be forced onto pistols for next, or for a weaker buy. But look at the positionings, right? We haven't seen any sort of aggressive take from Insight this round. We're playing quite on the back foot in regards to playing off contact of util towards up, or really leaving mains up for grabs.
I think as well the threat of them playing aggressive is doing a lot of work here. The implied threat for Control is so big here. Great usage of the satchel from Marky there, understanding that you just can't be in that situation. You're easily going to get picked. Insight will instantly collapse on you. Uses the boombot this time, sets up, starts to move back on in. Could get crossfired, but actually crosses well, unfortunately, right into the crosshairs of Ego. But with Daki moving up with the rest of the team in tow, they can start to make this move. Keep an eye on this Viper and how they're going to be able to deliver in this round. It's 4 versus 4. The Viper's pit is available, but it's not on site, so they're not going to be able to commit it towards it here. Daki has got to be that first point of contact with JKG going down. Does manage to deliver a frag, but only one. And this is looking like it might be curtains right now for Control Esports.
Too far away. He needs to get there, but Anguis is already watching. The timing, he might not be able to get it, but the plan isn't for him. He gets the 2 kills, not able to kill the diffuser since it was not planted for that positioning of Art, and unfortunately not giving them enough time for that wraparound. And yes, it's kind of what we needed. The timeout now, the tactical pause for the side of Control. What needs to be said if you were their coach right now?
Honestly, in my opinion, it's too little to that. It should have taken it a couple of rounds ago. As soon as things started swinging back in the direction, you need to do it. Now you have so little time to work with. Sure, you have a little bit of money. You can get rifles on actually just about everybody. It's not quite there yet. I think what they need to look at is go back to being aggressive. Yes, you can get caught off guard by ISG here. Insight can absolutely take you for a ride in this situation. But you can't let that discourage you. You need to have courage in these situations to go for the play. You know what works for you, so make it happen.
Absolutely. We saw them string together 4 rounds in a row, and now, well, Insight have said, okay, you can do that. We can do it better. They're going to be trying to string out 5 to get this, well, done in regulation, to carry on their win streak. I think they haven't gone past 6 rounds so far in groups. Insight Gaming have not given up past 5 or 6 rounds. So this really does show how much Control are pushing Insight to their, well, limits at this point, and really finding the loopholes in their, well, defense and their attack as well on the other half. But like you said, it is a little bit too late now for, well, anything lacking that Control Esports have to make up now. They are going to be on these half shields, are going to be lacking a few little bits of util, like we only see 1 flash on the side of the KO on Daki. They're going to be working on the back foot, really.
Yeah, they have so little gas left in the tank. They've really got to find one of these opportunities, get one of these cheeky plays going. Moving into the operator dangerously, I mean, you got to go for it sometimes. Anguist over on this right now on the Killjoy for a chance to lock down these angles. Again, that B site can be so brilliant for these longer range weapons. So they're going to shift their focus maybe back towards mid again here. I think that's what Control Esports are really going to look for, as they're kind of converging, looking at their options and going, okay, we know the operator's there. What else do we know?
Yeah, and their spike is down. They're not committing. They weren't planning on committing at all at the start. They had 3 towards B, 2 towards A, really just poking a little bit of attention either side of these 2 mains. And it looks like with the positioning of Jaff, we're going positioning of MJT and Jaff respectively, it's going to be looking like an A split.
The KO coming on in here is going to be so darn big. Actually moves away towards that B site. I thought that was going to be the biggest opportunity possible for them. MJT's waiting right here. They've got the bomb. They're going to bring it up a little bit late. Starting to move towards it. You can see that they're there, but MJT gets 1 at the very least here. There's still access to a controller for Control Esports, so they can make it happen. With Leechy going down, Stokesy denies JKG. That's the spike. That's going to deny them so much. There's not a lot of time coming. The boombot forces them backwards, but Stokesy can buy time, can play for time. Gets headshot. You need to run. You need to go right now, Control. There's so little left for you. You can see them hauling ass all the way over.
The 2 players are going to wave their way in. The ultimate going down. They're going to have to get this plan down. It takes 4 seconds, but these players are going to be running this straight afterwards. Daki gets 1, and now it's all down to Ego. The Killjoy lockdown's still there. It's going to force these players out of position and gets no one detained, though. And now it's all down to the shoulders of Ego to close this out now in this 23rd round. And no, Daki has something to say, has util, has guns to really bite back against the force of Insight Gaming there with a 4K for himself in that round.
The German standout here really delivering for this squad. Control Esports. He's not German.
No,
okay, sorry, just played in DAC. My bad. I'm stupid.
He
Apologies.
played for ITB.
Oh, okay.
ITB, yeah. In the DAC League. So maybe he's learned a bit of German, learned a bit of the play style possibly, and have brought that over into this game, getting those aggression. We've seen him on initiators like Breach. We've seen him on center. Very versatile player. But now, well, Control are trying to get this done, trying to get this overtime secured. They need this round, otherwise it's 1 more round for Insight to close it out.
And a reminder, they're playing for seeding and honor. And right now,
Yep.
Insight was saying they don't think they should lose a map in this group
MJT's
stage.
running
They
with a
absolutely
judge.
could. MJT knows what the people want and knows how to get these frags. In these clutch situations, sometimes you don't need aim. What you need is a lot of bullets going straight into someone's body.
Oh,
And that's
but a lot of
exactly what
bullets
the
are
doctor
going
ordered.
into MJT's body, but Ego is there, ready to trade it out. But the space is gotten, the knowledge is then transferred back to the remaining players. They have a lot of health on their side, but do they have the gun power?
Indeed. Oh, Molly goes deep. Hot Hands doesn't force Marky off. He's managed to slip on into this position. This is going to be so big. Gets a spray, takes down another one. That is exactly what the doctor ordered.
And we're going into overtime. It really does feel like there's a second life to Control Esports now coming into that second half. We've seen 4 rounds either way, and now look at that. The 2 rounds strung together right at the very bitter end when they were on match point for Insight. And now putting them in the back foot, they were very much in inches of closing out that game, down to 2, down to 1 player sometimes, and now we're going into OT. It's the first OT game we've seen today, and it's definitely the first game of OT Insight are going to be seeing. It's definitely not what they were expecting.
Not what they're expecting at all. This Pearl has been a knockdown, drag-out fight.
Absolutely.
Oh my lord. Insight coming in so confident, so self-assured, and maybe, just maybe, Control will be able to knock them off that golden pedestal. Strongest team definitely coming on in, but Insight might not be able to keep that one up unless they've got a little bit of foresight here to pick apart what Control have managed to change off the back of that TAC timeout. This TAC timeout seems to be absolutely broken as these teams were picking up rounds straight away afterwards. Prowler goes forward. Ego wants to look for a chance, and they're being a lot more dynamic here. They understand what they need to do, and they're applying it now on that other side. JKG has to back off. No! Gets caught! That's so big!
That's so big. That entry pick from Ego there, getting your reveal play off. But Daki there, ready to trade out his teammates back into, well, a more equal footing. You've lost your duelist. You've lost one of your flashes for a reveal player. It's not too bad. And now the Control is back in the side of Control Esports, instead getting 1-for-1. Stokesy trading it out. But still, it's 3v3.
Yeah, utility getting invested by Stokesy here, wants to make sure they don't get caught off guard. They put in a lot more. They're just going to get the spike down straight away. Look at this rotate coming on in. Daki's heading in from main, and they've got the double flank. So this is an interesting take away from this one. Stokesy is going to start to slink into the back of site. They're expecting someone from behind, but I don't know how much.
I don't think the bot's going to be up. He's too far down. He's too far down. The bot isn't going to be up on the flank. They're going to have to be away. Anguis is looking towards it. He is ready. And there you go. Away. He gets that shot down. And now, is he away with the second player?
I don't think he is at all. He's not looking for it. He's just dead. That's so free. But with Daki going down, it's 1 versus 2. And MJT has been a strong player. But in these situations, what really is available to you? The Nightfall comes on out. They know exactly where this player is. They try to stick it, but the shot is there from Stokesy. They deny, and they move to 13-12. It's match point yet again.
And we've seen how Control Esports react to Insight being on match point. They say, not yet, not in this round. Let's see if they can do it again. But it wasn't too bad. When we're talking about the defensive round we've had from Control, it is definitely one of their weaker sides. So I think it's okay that they're going into this a round down. I would be definitely more confident in their attacker rounds rather than the defender. So I think really it depends on which team wins the defense round is going to really put the linchpin in either one of these winning it in overtime.
Put the nail in the coffin more than anything and really put this one to rest, because right now Insight do not want this to go on any longer. They want to move up to 14-12 and don't give a chance for Control to get back into the swing of things like we've seen them do before. Marky moving aggressively, gets spotted out by the turret, but won't give away too much. That Prowler shows them there's another player there as well. So they start to kind of evaluate their options again. Focusing on that mid, not committing towards either of the sites just yet as they start to shift, start to lean towards that A site.
Yeah, and leaning towards the A site might be, like you said, the nail in coffin for Control Esports, because look at the positionings of Insight. They have so much, awareness of what Control are going to be doing. It does look like it's going to end up in a full 5A main, which we haven't seen them do yet. It's always been through the channels of possibly R or double door, putting pressure somewhere else, but we have a player rotated over towards B, Stokesy taking up that CT position, wary of any pushes down B long that might have been squandered by his jump peeking.
Yeah, position given away. We'll be able to activate that a little bit as Marky goes deep, but Lychee was there in just the nick of time. Jaff will even make short work of MJT here, and this is so big for Insight Gaming. It's exactly the kind of frags they needed, exactly the kind of opportunities. Daki sets up well with a flash, but the flash goes deep, and Jaff was just too far forward. That is the performance from Insight that we expect, and they close things out and keep their undefeated in group stages. Apologies. Jeez Louise. And again, put a seal of approval of them being the best team here.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, Control Esports, I think they've knocked the wind out of Inside Gaming quite a bit, because realistically, coming into this, you said that before, they were like, yeah, if we don't win this, we'll be very disappointed in ourselves, and all of that within the pre-games, interviews and stuff like that. But Control Esports have really stepped up. Of course, some teams were expecting them to do well. They are quite high-seeded. But the fact that we're able to take Inside Gaming to 12-14 on their first matchup, and it is on Pearl. We do love that map as well. But when you're looking at the other matchups, Control lost to Swans, and Inside Gaming 13-1 them. It's definitely a change-up. It's definitely a mix-up. Maybe they weren't on their best form, and they've really stepped up against Insight. And I think, they've knocked the wind out of the sails of them. Yes, they're still keeping their flawless run-through groups, but it's not in regulation.
No, it's absolutely not. They're definitely going to be thinking twice about what they need to do tomorrow, and obviously on Sunday, if they make it there. I'm really interested to see whether we see Insight actually manage to improve off the back of this, and I think they absolutely will. They understood that they were being that little bit too passive. They weren't quite being as proactive as they needed to, and they really got it towards the end. Shout out to Daki as well. Fantastic performance from them and the rest of Control. I'm excited to see what Control are going to be able to do as we go on through the groups.
But when we're talking about that, I really don't want to point out how many First Bloods Control actually had. They only had 9. They only had 9 First Bloods throughout that entire 26-round map. And when you're thinking of it, they are always working off that back foot. We were talking about the aggression that we want to see them having, which possibly they're going to be able to take this away, put it into the next match. Because we've only seen Pearl. That's all we've seen. And when we're going into playoffs in this, they're both making it into the upper bracket, so it will be double, well, they'll have double the chance. It'll be a double bracket for them. So when we're going to be seeing at least another 2 best-of-3s out of these 2 teams, whether it's going to be against each other or not, you'll have to wait and see. But I think that's the last game for us today.
No, well, for us, yes, but we still have a best-of-3 for Hazard and Kyra, which will be coming on up after this. That is the first round of elimination, and there's definitely one to stick around for. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. You'll be in the hands of some fantastic casters as well. We are going to go to break now as we get prepped for that one. Hope you guys have a good evening and enjoy the coming Valorant.
Somebody, how long he will be on my mind. He will be on my mind. You can be the stars, you can be the stars for me. Show me that you love me like